Hello, everyone. My name is Candace Krell, and I am the Grants Manager for the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. This is the first in a series that we are planning called Tech Tools for Nonprofits. We have some different resources that we are compiling, but for our first video, I really wanted to cover some of our application and reporting pitfalls and walk you through some items that may give you trouble or that I've found commonly grantees have some issues with. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen with you. You should be able to see my screen, and we're going to talk about where you would find the link to apply. So typically you're going to get an email from your program officer. And in that email, they'll have a lot of information, but you're going to see two links. And I want to point out the difference between these two links because it can cause a little bit of confusion. So we have our new application here, and that's where you're going to click if you want to start a new application. If you have started a new application in the past and maybe you needed to get some more information, so you needed to save, that actually is going to be a different place. So you're going to come down here where it says continue a saved application. I just want to point out that those are two different things. If you continue to go to the start a new application, you're going to rack up new applications every time you click that button. So you'll want to do that once you get to the point where you're happy, you want to save and get back in and add information later, then you'll use that continue a saved application button. So I'm going to go ahead and act like I am continuing on with a new application. If you have never logged in with us before, if this is your first time applying, you'll go ahead and hit the new applicant button. You'll put in your email address, confirm your email, and a password, and confirm that password. You do want to make a note of the password and email that you use. Unfortunately, I would be the one that would help you with that, and I don't have access to your password, so I can't tell you what it is. If for some reason, after you create your account, you do forget what your password is, you can go ahead and come here and hit the Forgot Password button, and that will prompt you to create a new password. Since I'm going to act like I am creating a new application, I'm going to sign in. Oops, that's my personal. Use my work and log in. And it's just taking a second to load here. Okay. There we go. So I will go back to that other screen. That's going to actually be the screen that you go into when you have saved an application. But for now, we're going to act like we are in the application. So this is our application. We have a number of different types of applications. So if you are applying, it might look a little bit different, so don't panic. You can navigate the application in a couple of different ways. You can click at the top from tab to tab, and that will take you between tabs, or you can go all the way down to the bottom and click next, and that will also take you between your tabs. So I just want to go through a couple of different items. So this is an application that we use that requires a logic model. Not all applications are going to require a logic model, but I do just want to point out a few things here. And I believe it's on the next tab. So for items, applications that do have a logic model, we have a bunch of different measurements, and that if you don't use a logic model, that might be very intimidating to you, but don't worry, if you do use a logic model, hopefully that will make sense. And if it doesn't, you can always reach out to us and we can walk you through it. So here are some of our different measurements. What I want to point out is that in order to complete your application, you do need to put something in each field. So even if you aren't using this measurement, you still need to put a 0 to go on to the next measurement and then say, this is maybe one that I have and I had 150. Those zeros will allow you to submit. Because these are required fields, you do have to enter something in. If I were to not enter anything in, and then come down to the bottom and hit review and submit my application. Once I do that, I'm going to get a whole list of items that were required that I didn't submit because I haven't put any information. But if you happen to miss one, if it's a required field, you're going to get a whole lot of red that's going to tell you these are errors that you need to fix before you can submit. So I wanted to point that out. Another thing I wanted to point out is on our attachments page, we have a list of items here that are required. You'll see here, the first one is submission checklist, project activity timeline. What I want to point out here is this box. It's a drop-down box. Something that happens quite frequently is that this box can be missed because it's kind of hidden in here. And then when I go to upload my file, I can just choose what I want to upload and I hit upload. If I don't change this box, I'm going to have everything under submission checklist. And what's going to happen is the system isn't going to understand that I have uploaded my project activity timeline, my logic model, all of that, because the system thinks that it only has a submission checklist. So you want to make sure that for each item that you upload, you're going to this drop-down box and updating it. And then you can hit upload. That is a very common issue that we run into. It can be kind of confusing, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Something else that I wanted to point out is some of our program officers prefer it if you email a draft instead of going ahead and submitting. One way that you can do that, actually the way that you do that is over here in the right-hand side of the application, there's an email draft button. You will click that, you can fill in your name, it will already have your email address from when you logged in, and then you'll put your program officer's email here. And what that will do is take all of the information that you have at this point and send it to the email of the program officer. That way you don't have to formally submit an application. Again, that's going to be according to your program officer's preference. So those are the things I really wanted to cover in the application. I'm going to go ahead and close out. And I'm going to close out here. And I'm going to go back to this initial email that we started with, and I'm going to show you what the continuous saved application will take you to. So I will log in. Okay, so this is what is called your portal. Any application that you have started will show up down here. I do a lot of testing. This is my test account. So you can see I have a ton of applications here. Hopefully you will not have that many. I wanted to show here, you can see that there's the same application over and over again. It also gives you information about when it was last updated. So if you did happen to come to that email and hit that start a new application button, when you go in to your portal, you might see multiple applications there. That's what caused that. So as long as you figure out which one is the one you want to keep, you can delete the others. If you do go ahead and submit your application, the program officer might make edits, send you a list of edits, and then send that application back out to you, what we call for resubmission. That will appear in a different place. So it can be confusing because you're used to coming down here and seeing your application. Those are actually going to show up here. And they can be really easy to miss. It's a little subtle up there. It says the following applications were generated for resubmission. Click on one of the links below, and you'll click that link and it will actually take you into the application that the program officer sent back to you. So that's another common issue that we get is like, well, where's my application? And that's where it is. It's just in a slightly different place. Another issue here is the show filter. It's just this tiny little drop-down box. It can be really helpful if you want to access previously submitted applications. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I would just come here and hit submitted applications. It's going to automatically update and I can see every application that I have submitted previously. So I'm going to go back to my in progress applications. And again, you can see here that it's updating. So I'm going to move on now to reporting. So in our system, this is another thing that's confusing, is we have what's called our applications tab here and our requirements tab. So you might get a notification via email that you have a report that's due in a month and you want to go and work on that. And if you come in, you will come in automatically on the applications tab, and you might say, well, I don't see the report. Where is it? It's in a different place. I'm going to show you how to access that right now. So you'll go ahead and click on requirements, and any requirements that you had would show up right here. Because this is my test account, I don't have any requirements that are connected to this account. But if I did, just like here in the application, it would look very similar, and I could just click on it to open, but it would be here under the form name. I do want to also point out the show filter for reporting, and just explain the role that that plays, because it can be kind of confusing. So if I came in here and I went ahead and opened up my report, which should show up down here, and I made some changes and said, oh, I'm going to wait on some numbers from accounting, I'm going to go ahead and save that report and I'll come back and access it later. The next time you come in, you're going to come to the requirements tab and you'll be on new requirements, and it's not going to be there. And that can be very alarming, because it looks as though your whole report that you spent all this time on has disappeared, but it hasn't. I'm going to show you how to access that. So to do that, you'll just come over to your show filter. You're going to click on that and you would go to in progress requirements. Ideally that would update and then you would see it here. Again, I don't have one report in my system, so it's not showing, but that would be how you access that. The reason that this happens is before you open a report, our system views it as a new requirement. Once you open that report, it's now viewed in the system as a in progress requirement. And that's why it doesn't show up when you come in under the new requirements. One more quick tip that I want to show is how to access all of your previously submitted reports. That can be really important. Say you did a mid-year report and now you're ready for your final report, but you don't have all those numbers on hand, so you want to go back and see what you had. That's again going to be with the show filter. You're just going to click on that and go down to your submitted requirements. And then here I can see everything that I have submitted previously to the foundation. So you don't have to go back through your notes and try to find where that was. You just come here, click on it. It will open up the report and you can see all of the information that you submitted to us previously. So that was a little bit of a crash course. I just really wanted to cover some of the issues that we have with our reporting in our applications. We're hoping to make more of these videos and expand into providing resources to maybe help some of the needs that our grantees are having working from home. So keep an eye out for more videos. Thank you for spending your time with me, and I'll see you later.